Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Schnitzel.
At 10 million, take 500 more, at 10 million.
Hello, I'm Searcy. Welcome to Bred to Win, coming to you from the Inglis Riverside stables, where only weeks ago we saw a $10 million filly being sold. At this morning's Inglis HTBA sale, I'm hopefully selling a filly of rather less significance, but still it's an exciting moment, the first yearling I've bred and taken through a yearling sale. More on that in coming weeks, but on this week's show, we have all the thrilling racing from the Group 1s at the Adelaide Autumn Carnival and plenty of stallion news. Sandy Tait, the breeder of greats such as Tie the Knot and many more, including Australasian Oaks fourth place getter from Saturday, Wings of Song, in our Bred to Win Legend series. And Yulong boss Vin Cox on a former auctioneer and sales company leader in Arrowfield Studs Industry Influencers. That's all coming up, but first a lot to whiz through in our Aushorse News. The Inglis HTBA yearling sale on Sunday in Sydney saw a Tassort colt from Riversdale top proceedings, bought by Kennewell Racing and Group 1 bloodstock for $150,000. He's from a winning Schnitzel mare and descends from the champion mare Emancipation. In coming weeks, we'll feature the story behind my experience taking a yearling I'd bred to sale and passing it in, and hear more about the less commercial end of the market. What do you do with horses that aren't sold at a given sale? Plenty of stallion news around this week, starting with the retirement of one of the last sons of the great Danehill, Fastnet Rock. The dual Group 1 winning sprinter was twice crowned champion Australian sire and has 43 individual Group 1 winners, as well as a slew of stallion sons and successful broodmare daughters. Coolmore Stud has announced Justify won't return to Australia this coming spring, but will cover mares at Ashford Stud in Kentucky to Southern Hemisphere time. New Zealand's Cambridge Stud has announced its stallion fees for 2024, including the new son of Frankel Chaldean at $35,000 NZ plus GST. Almanzor will stand for $35,000 NZ plus GST. Hello Yum Zane for the same fee. Sword of State at $15,000 NZ plus GST, and Embellish at $5,000. New Haven Park Stud has set the fee for Moonga at $27,500 including GST for the dual Group 1 winner this season.
Here comes Native Trail to pounce late on.
Darley, New South Wales has announced it'll stand two new international sires this year. Native Trail by Oasis Dream will stand for $27,500, and a new son of Frankel, Triple Time, who has his fee set at $22,000, while Cylinder and Golden Mile retire to Northwood Park in Victoria. Cylinder to stand for $44,000 and Caulfield Guineas winner Golden Mile for $16,500. The brother to young sire Exceedance, Oxley Road, will become a new stallion for Victoria's Blue Gum Farm, standing at a fee of $8,800. Also in Victoria will be Dubawi's Caulfield Stakes winner and Cox Plate runner-up Ben Battle, set to stand the 2024 season at Woodside Park at a fee of $22,000.
Vibrant Sun, Coco Sun's having a last-ditch effort.
Wrapping up the big Group 1s in Adelaide on Saturday, the high-quality Australasian Oaks was a magnificent trifecta for Arrowfield Studs, the Autumn Sun, who'd already sired this year's ATC Oaks winner Autumn Angel. Vibrant Sun beat Private Legacy and Coco Sun. The winner is from Vamos Stakes winner, the Written Tycoon mare Vibrant Rouge, and was a Magic Millions yearling bought from Canning Downs for $260,000 by Seamus Mills and Mick Price. The Autumn Sun is recovering from a recent pelvic injury as his 3-year-olds reach the heights in the Australian Autumn Classics. The other Group 1 at Morfettville on Saturday saw Zoo Star's Climbing Star score a dogged win in the 20th running of the Robert Sangster Stakes. Her dam, the Fastnet rock mare Bryony, has also thrown Sansom and is a half-sister to Triple Honour and full sister to Heroic Valour. Climbing Star was a $600,000 Inglis Easter yearling sold by Widden Stud to Philip Stokes and Rick Connolly, and she's an entry for the upcoming Magic Millions National Broodmare Sale. Coming up after the break, Cambridge Stud with a huge week and the second of our Bred to Win Legend series, the wonderful Sandy Tait.
Now starting to swamp him late, Bold Soul.
The Cambridge Stud performance of the week was hard to pick this week. As well as an Almanzor Quinella in the VRC St Ledger on Australia Day, there were a number of other successes. But the win of Bold Soul in the Chairman Stakes on a big day in Adelaide was a standout for their young sire, Embellish. A $20,000 NZB Book 2 yearling, Bold Soul is from the Singspiel mare Twin Soul and is the first stakes winner for Embellish, himself a winner of the New Zealand 2000 Guineas. While Wings of Song finished a strong fourth in the Group 1 Australasian Oaks on the weekend, her previous win in the Auraria Stakes continued the elite legacy of group winners that have been produced by one of the rare generational breeders, Sandy Tait. And as you'll hear in the second of our Bred to Win Legends series, the Tait family's influence stretches back over a century. It's so fabulous to be down here at Cootamundra at Twin Hills Stud, obviously run by your son in Ollie Tate, and it's just a beautiful day to be looking at these gorgeous young horses that are the result of generations of breeding through your family.
Yes, it is, especially on these lovely autumn days, and you know, we're very blessed with a lovely climate for breeding horses in southern New South Wales.
Looking back at your family, I mean, we're talking about going back to the early 1900s, aren't we, as far as your family and the influence on the Australian thoroughbred breed. Tell us a bit about the background of your family breeding.
Well, the background is we've always been small breeders, and we've kept at it for a long period of time. My grandfather, Peter Tate, was a committeeman of the AJC and was a keen racing person, and he had Indian Chief run second in the Metropolitan and Phil in the Melbourne Cup. So going back to there, and I think my grandfather won the new market with Valliard.
So it's in the blood, isn't it? I mean, tell me about your passion for the industry. I mean, we always talk about it being, you know, it's about the horse, isn't it? Where did your love of the horse develop from?
Well, as an 8-year-old, I became interested in racing, and through my mother, really, because she was a passionate breeder and wonderful horsewoman, and I think that would be how it started.
Triscay the inside and Lycra in front, passing the 200 metre mark. Still 2 lengths to West and then Twiglet.
For some of us, you know, with long enough memories to remember Whist winning the 1,000 Guineas, we sort of think, you know, that's where the tie the knot sort of Tortoni family started. But it started before then. I mean, Whist's dam is by Kaoru Star. That is a shame. She's from a Baguette mare, not enough. And all registered as bred by the great cross, Tate Niverson. Yeah. But you bred Baguette. I mean, what an incredible stallion he was, what a racehorse he was. The first 2-year-old Triple Crown winner from the great producer, Dark Jewel. What are your memories of Baguette?
Well, Baguette was a wonderful racehorse, and especially I can really passionate about him and what he did as a 2-year-old when he won the Breeders' Plate, Silver Slipper Stakes, Maribyrnong Plate. So it was a wonderful career as an early 2-year-old, and then he won a welter handicap slipper, Size Produce and Champagne Stakes.
Yeah, I mean, he won a Newmarket, Doomben 10,000, the George Main, and of course then he went on and sired a Golden Slipper winner in Dark Eclipse. and is the grandsire of Rory's Jester, who we still see bobbing up in so many pedigrees to this day through Not a Single Doubt. I mean, in those days, did you have an idea that, you know, this decades later, that the offspring of Baguette would still be having an influence?
Yes, I think I was, because he was such a top-class horse, you'd imagine he would his progeny would carry on. We've got Fiancé Blood, which was another very good 2-year-old by Baguette, and it continues today.
Wild Iris, this is a fairy tale story. Wild Iris blows them away in the Oaks.
It's a wonderful thing, this generational breeding, isn't it? I mean, we look at, you know, Wild Iris, who was an AJC Oaks winner in your famous red and white colours. And then that brings us to Zanbar, who won 2 Emancipation Stakes, a Tibby, a Keith Nolan, second in the VRC and the Australia and the AJC Oaks, and second in a Queen of the Turf. I mean, again, Zanbar we see here today. Tell us about the backstory of her family.
Well, it's just a remarkable family, which was originally my mother's old mare, going back to 1920s, and it's just kept going. It's not like the Dark Jewel family, but it's a family of in love who won a Doom 10,000. The in love family, they keep throwing. You'll get a good one over a long period of time, really, and you've got to be patient. You've got to wait till they deliver. And I suppose Zanbar did deliver. I mean, her career was amazing, and we're very lucky to have her as a broodmare.
The champion, Tie the Knot, bursting up on the fence. Di does it again. Tie the Knot wins his second Mercedes Classic.
Whisked, of course, you sent to Nassapur, who had, of course, already sired that incredible Caulfield Melbourne Cup winner in Let's Elope. That mating that produced the great Tie the Knot. Tell us about that decision.
Nassapur was the greatest sire in Australasia, and so I went to New Zealand and went and saw him, and I was able to get a booking to Nassapur, and that produced Tie the Knot, you know. So it was amazing.
And Tie the Knot himself, 13 Group 1s, 2 Sydney Cups, 2 equivalents of the BMW, 2 Ram Vets, the Rosehill Guineas Spring Champion. What are some of your favourite memories of that era of Tie the Knot?
Well, I think it was in the first Sydney Cup where he beat Doremus, who had just won the Melbourne Cup. I mean, as a 3-year-old. And he is still the last 3-year-old to win the Sydney Cup. He must have been a real champion that day to beat Doremus, who was the greatest stayer in Australia. That's the one that really stands out to me, I think.
And he was a people's favourite. I mean, this is what is so important to racing, isn't it? Remembering these horses that are so beloved, of the racing industry just adores them.
It's because they keep standing up every day, don't they? I mean, I was incredibly lucky, and my sister Jill, to own this one wonderful horse, Tie the Knot. Yeah, I mean, it was remarkable. Trained by Guy Walter, who was a fantastic trainer, and it just seemed it worked well.
And the legacy of that family still goes on here. Of course, Tortoni, who we saw here today, the very last daughter of Whisked. And it's the exact same chestnut, isn't it, of Tie the Knot and his half-brother Dream Ballad. It's just fascinating to watch as the generations go through, how they throw something so similar to good horses of the past every generation.
Well, I suppose she was the last foal of Whisked. She didn't have a racing career like Whisk, but had having a career like her mother. So I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Well, it really is. I mean, we're talking about Tortoni, Cherry Tortoni, a 4-time stakes winner who won a Group 2 Moonee Valley Vase. He's by Night of Thunder, an English 2000 Guineas winner by Dabawi. And at the time of this interview, Wings of Song, who's on an incredible unbeaten run of 6 wins straight, including the Tasmanian Guineas, the 1,000 Guineas, the Tasmanian Oaks, and now the Auraria Stakes going into the SA Oaks. I mean, what a filly, so many generations down.
Yes, it is. It's amazing. I mean, just the latest one, Wings of Song, is amazing because she just got such a good temperament, and she just produces every time she runs. I mean, we're very lucky to have her. As
a Tassie Oaks winner, you were actually down there for that. How was that to be down there to watch another Oaks winner that you've bred?
Yeah, no, it was just amazing. We decided she'd had a wonderful career down there this summer, and we decided we'd have to go and see her run, and she won the Tasmanian Oaks. So I mean, that was pretty exciting.
And Jenny Jerome, who's by Churchill, really talented mare, just needs a bit more luck to be a stakes winner, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She's gone pretty close, but she's knocking on the door, I'd say, and hopefully she can deliver.
You know, you're obviously a generational breeder. You know, you're breeding to race these horses yourself in your colours. What would you say to people that would love to do that? I mean, we see a lot of people, they'll get a mare in foal to a certain stallion and try and trade them, and obviously it's a very commercial business which people have to do to survive. But if someone really wanted to have the ability to have these mares that you breed from generation after generation, what is it that really gives you the biggest buzz in what you do?
Well, I suppose you've got to start with. You've got to have the passion about breeding horses, and you have to keep following them through. I mean, which is stick to them. I mean, you probably have to reduce the numbers at various times. Keep breeding, I suppose. That'd be my advice. Keep at it, but you've got to have a bit of luck. I mean, if you don't have any luck, well, it makes it difficult. But you know, I've had a lot of luck, and I suppose, and a lot of keenness, and I've been very lucky to have my sister Jill Niverson doing it with me with most of our horses, and I think that's been the key to it.
It is a hard game though, isn't it? I mean, it's very hard to get the perfect foal, for instance. I mean, I think a lot of people think the breeding industry, you just breed these horses, they make a lot of money. Yep. The reality is there are a lot that don't, aren't there? So, you know, it takes luck, but it takes a lot of persistence to breed a good horse.
I don't worry too much about what the horses look like or their front legs look like. I mean, I breed them to race, so I don't have to be critical of those sort of things, which anybody who's buying horses is very critical of them naturally, because they're putting out a lot of money. I mean, I'm putting out a lot of money with service fees, but it's a different kind of selection, I suppose. I mean, I've bred the horse. I'm going to try him, even if it's not too perfect in the legs.
Do you think the industry is too obsessed with correcting foals or stripping them or getting the legs, you know, so that they are perfect for sale, or too many X-ray, you know, too much weight on X-rays at the sales? Do you think it's gone a little bit too far in that direction to make it hard for breeders to sell what can be a perfectly good racehorse?
Yes, I think if you're breeding for that market, it is difficult, and it can devalue what they're really worth. But if you breed to race, they'll soon tell you whether they're any good or not. And
so how do you work out, I mean, you obviously, you know, really like a lot of the shuttle stallions, and as Ollie was saying before, it's a good strategy, isn't it? Because they're often absolute champion horses, and they can become champion stallions, but they don't stand for the same service fees here as they do overseas, internationally.
I've been very lucky choosing to oversee stallions, and it's worked out well, and their price is reasonable for the service fee, but I'm doing it for another reason, and therefore I can do it because I'm breeding to race, whereas people who are breeding to sell to race, it's a different ball game, I think.
You've watched this for years, the hot young stallion or the horse that's the superstar. I mean, it's such a fad in some ways, isn't it? Because there are some wonderful stallions that, you know, if they get more of an opportunity, will go on and become great stallions.
Yes, that's true, and our colonial stallions are really top of the tree at the moment, and they're so strong, will continue to be. But I suppose there's a bit in the not so much in the market, but if you're breeding to race, there's an opportunity to go to outstanding stallions for a reasonable price.
Who do you admire in the industry yourself, within the breeding side of the racing game? Who do you see as someone that's really done an incredible job that you sort of have great respect for?
Well, I think John Massara, you know, of my generation. I mean, he's just done an incredible job. There's, you know, like Stanley Wootton, who imported Star Kingdom. John Kelly Senior, I think, was a remarkable breeder, and we've just been lucky. We've had these people these men or women that have come along, have helped our breed go ahead, you know. And I suppose the stallions they stand, they're the ones that have set our breeding industry ahead. It takes so long to prove a stallion, you know. I mean, we can say how good Star Kingdom was, or Danehill, or Wilkes, or Rego, all those great stallions, but it takes time to get there.
And just touching on something that is an issue for the industry and rehoming thoroughbreds, of course, you know, your dear Tie the Knot lived here until he was 18, and his half-brother Dream Ballard was here for years as well, a winner of a Dulcify. And, you know, as I said, it is hard for people to have the land to keep their horses later on. You know, what do you think is an ideal way to look after these thoroughbreds throughout their lives?
Well, I think it's really important that we do look after them for the rest of their lives. And that is a difficult thing, but the world changes. We just have to adjust to it, I think. I'm very lucky because I live on a property, so we've always been able to do that. But it's a difficult thing, but it has to be done.
And of course family, of course Ollie we have here, and Amber and your grandkids here, and obviously you're very close with your sister Jill, and I know Tate quite well, who's obviously breeding herself as well. It's fascinating watching the humans that have the passion that's handed down generation after generation.
Well, I suppose it's understandable because it is such an exciting and rewarding game. But you've got to be lucky to get a good horse every now and again, or get a good horse once in your lifetime, and that does make a difference, I think. And
it's quite amazing how these horses multiply, isn't it? I just love this Palace Pier Zambar filly foal with the beautiful action. There's so much to look forward to always in this industry, isn't there? It's
what's going to happen tomorrow that keeps you going. I mean, you can be having a pretty rotten trot with the horses, but you can just just keep at it, and it'll change. The road has a turning if to the good times. I think we've been blessed because of my parents' wonderful mare Dark Jewel, so that has it rubs off for a fair while. But there's going to be a change there sometime. You've got to get another one. But I mean, that's the dream, is to get another top class mare, I think, as a breeder, and I hope I can do it in the future.
What a wonderful legacy Sandy Tait and his family have created, and those families are guaranteed to grace the pedigree pages of group winners for generations to come. Coming up after the break on Bred to Win, Yulong Studs Managing Director Vin Cox and the man who left a huge legacy on his life and career in Arrowfield Studs industry influences.
I don't think anyone in the Australian industry will be at all surprised with my answer, and that's Reg Inglis. Reg employed me when I was the ripe old age of 20 years of age, and I started at William Inglis way back in 1988, and Reg was just a great mentor. He was a great support. Even when things went wrong, he supported you and had a little quiet word with you at the back and said, well, this is where you've got it wrong, and put you in the right direction. He had a sixth sense about who we should be dealing with and how we went about business. And apart from anything else, he just had a great sense of ethics as well, and that served obviously Reg very well. It served William Inglis very well at the time, and it was great to learn from him, and I'm greatly indebted to him for all the time he put into me.
You do learn so much from these generations of people that have been involved in the industry and have so much to teach young people.
Absolutely, and that's what Reg loved. He loved having young people around and put a lot of time into them, and really schooled you about how to treat people, how to behave around people. To your point about generational families, that's what really bears out. Even today here at Inglis, it's been a long-standing family business that stands on basic moral, ethical business standards.
Now, of course, you've been through the Magic Millions era, the Godolphin era, and now with Yulong, and it's all about a team of people that are passionate about the job, isn't it?
Indeed. And the one thing about our game is it is a people's industry, and without the people, you have nothing. And creating cultures within teams is hugely important, and it's very fortunate that we all love the horses and the horses bring us together. So, but it's a people's business.
Another great example of an industry stalwart influencing current generations into leadership roles. That's all for this week on Bred to Win. Don't miss next week's show as we catch up with Henry Plumtree on an exciting new stallion for breed shaping Cambridge stud. That and much more next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. Look forward to seeing you then.
Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of 4-time champion sire Snitzel.